Couldn't have gone any better.
And it went well yesterday because he battered Stephen Bunting, didn't he?
He did. Big win, that. 93.93 average, one of the top performers from the opening day.
40.
And a good win, that, because Stephen Bunting's a man who's been in some good form, but it just wasn't the bullet that we know and love. That's the Peter Wright that we know and love, though.
A 180 apiece in his opening leg. And Gerwin has set the standard in that last win against Alan Tabon, although it could have ended up being a lot better than it was. Peter Wright will have watched it and will want to send a message back in Michael's direction. They have a friendly rivalry, don't they? They've contested a couple of European Tour finals already this year.
100. 121.
121. Treble 17 would leave him the bullseye. Bull. And Peter Wright nails it.
Well, Peter Wright, sometimes you get the feeling that these European tours, after he was, as you say, dominant at the early part of last year, and prior to his dominance, he was such a consistent performer on the European tour. I mean, he won, what, 5 titles last year, but he'd already won on the Euro Tour prior to that, and he was a regular finalist. Usually losing to MVG as Kirk Shepherd piles in his second 180. Had 3 in this game already.
Yeah, started off legs perfectly so far, Kirk Shepherd, but the last one didn't end very well for him.
60.
But these Euro Tours, you just feel with the crowd and the support that Peter Wright gets, playing on a big stage, oh dear, 4 perfect darts but no more.
86.
It's kind of like a shot in the arm for Peter Wright, because away from the Euro Tour, it's not been brilliant. The UK Open qualifiers were good for him, but his standards are so high.
100.
After last year, Jamie Lewis and Mrs. Snakebite, Joe looks on. That's a 4th 180. We're only in leg 2, remember.
100.
Yeah, I just think that his standards are so high now. I mean, he came this year thinking, I want to win 20 titles. But making 4 semi-finals in 6 UK Open qualifiers felt like a failure, whereas everybody else would have thought, oh, that's really good, that. It's only really MVG and Peter Wright who'd be disappointed with that sort of performance. 85 left, treble 15 or treble 19.
Peter Wright waiting in the wings for a shot
94.
at 104.
104.
Peter looking to pick the pockets of Kirk Shepherd. It's going to be very tricky to get past that one.
Well,
88.
He's hit the 48 there.
41.
Why not go for the 48 second dart to leave double 18?
It did look like a horror dart, didn't it, blocking the treble 20 bed.
I know he's a stubborn man, but why go for it? Give me an answer, Murphy.
I don't have one. But it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, as Peter Wright has doubled his lead.
Well, Peter Wright told me on Thursday night, after his Premier League game, that he was going to the Euro Tour, and he knew he was going to win.
In 2017.
And I think that was particularly important because Peter Wright had just claimed his first major title, the UK Open, and of course it was one where Michael van Gerwen wasn't present. And people were quick to point out, oh, well, he's won it. Well, Peter Wright said, I won it, but Taylor wasn't here and Van Gerwen wasn't here, so it doesn't really count. Premier League final.
Yeah, he certainly showed 6 darts missed. And it just, well, he knocked the stuffing out of himself ahead of the deciding leg. Could knock the stuffing out of Kirk Shepherd here, but couldn't find the second treble.
130.
Perfect setup.
164.
And is it going to set itself up for another Wright Van Gerwen final? Plenty of darts to be chucked before we speculate about that. Did Peter Wright tell you who he knew he was going to beat in the final by any chance?
No, he didn't speculate.
Because we might as well just have the tomorrow off. Hand Peter Wright the trophy. If his prediction's going to be right. And I tell you what, you mentioned that other prediction, or that other target, shall I say, of Peter Wright about 20 titles. And MVG takes great pleasure in reminding everyone that he's halfway to Peter's
95
aim for the year.
Yes. Peter is still no closer to the target of 20 than he was at the start of the year. He's been close to picking up a title, he just hasn't got over the line.
He was chased down by MVG in the first European Tour final.
Yeah, first to 6 legs, first to 7 legs, not first to 8 legs. So the increased format working against Peter Snakebite right there.
$135.
Will be Danny Noppert facing the winner of this one, having beaten Gerwin Price, the Austrian Darts Open runner-up this afternoon.
Yeah, very impressive game that. Very impressive display from Noppy, 99 average, as it was yesterday against Krzysztof Ratajski. Plays at that level.
96.
He has got a chance. Peter Wright is motoring along at just over the 100 average right now. And has helped him take a 3-0 lead. But Kirk Shepherd is threatening to break straight back and get his first leg on the board. That's enough to get to a finish for Peter Snakebite Wright.
170.
Shepherd can't produce the 170. Are we going to see a 147?
No.
We might see one, just not in his leg.
You didn't specify, I'll give you that.
Maybe not even in this match.
I see one before the end of time. Tops!
A 118 is the number for Kirk Shepherd.
Kirk to throw first.
And that was a breaker throw, so just reminding Peter Wright that he's in this match and he's not just on stage practicing.
A few chance of Martin Schindler Olay going around the Glass Palast. There were plenty of those this afternoon, but unfortunately
100.
Martin Schindler has gone home. He was beaten by Joe Cullen, much to the disgust of this Glass Palast crowd.
Only a Euro Tour this year, but if it's a few of the same fans in tomorrow, many of them might be on the side of the Australian.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know how many will be here tomorrow that have been here today.
$140.
And whether they will hold a grudge. Peter Wright's on the 161. The 161 that I believe he took out in the final against Michael van Gerwen here last year. And may take out here against Kirk Shepherd. But won't.
137. Kirk requires.
Is Shepherd going to edge his way back into this? 66 needed. Well, that's 45. Double 8.
Game shot the fifth leg.
Tidied it up.
Looks like it's Peter to throw first.
And just one leg behind now, Kirk Shepherd.
Yeah, Peter Wright left stranded in the last couple of legs on 24 and on 87.
Scotland's number 1, snakebite Wright.
108.
Demonstrating an example of why. Scotland's number 3, John Henderson, coming up next. Taking on James Wade.
58.
And then England's number 1, Rob Cross, rounding off the night against Vincent van der Voort, a man who I believe has still thrown the highest average in this tournament, just shading Michael van Gerwen's for 103.5, but that might be eclipsed by Peter Wright right now. Loose dart there from Peter Wright, but makes up for it with that next one. Leaves himself 46, and having lost the last 2 legs, Peter Wright, 46 left after 9. Even a 180 wouldn't have got Shepherd down to a finish. Shepherd's playing at around the sort of level he was against Stephen Bunting. It was more than enough against Bunting, but it's nowhere near enough against Peter Wright right now.
Kirk to throw first. Game on. 140.
5 wins for Peter Wright since that 1 defeat to Kirk Shepherd way back in the dim and distant in 2008. And every single one of them has been pretty convincing. 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-3 in the most recent one, 6-1 in Barnsley. But the vast majority of those games have come sort of 2013 onwards, which is when Peter Wright started to become Snakebite, this incredible
81.
just winning machine who has worked his way up to number 2 in the world rankings and become a major champion. One of the most consistent performers out there, Peter Wright, even though he hasn't been hitting the heights this year that he was last year.
Well, if he does
100.
go on and win the title that he claims he's certain he's going to, and it would be his 20th in the PDC. And in reference to the point you were making, it's not been in a long spell, and they've not been spread over his career, have they?
No.
They've come since the emergence of Snakebite. Started out with a kind of dreadlock style hair, didn't he?
He looked like the Predator. I mean, it was a look. And he's having a look at this. Having a look at the ball. And a look is all he needs, because Peter Wright fires in a 12-darter to back up the 11-darter in the previous leg. Peter Wright's winning legs have been pretty special in this. Peter Wright in general has been pretty special in this game. Too special for Kirk Shepherd tonight.
180.
And a special start to the final leg. We've seen bullseye finishers twice, 1-2-1 and 1-2-6. A 180 to kick off. Well, I said the final leg. That was a bit presumptive, wasn't it?
You may be right.
Well, I probably will be, because Peter Wright, well, the flight is just about in the treble 20 bed, but the dart's nowhere to be seen.
And I don't think that was destined for the 60, if I'm honest. Don't want to be a killjoy.
140.
It looked a bit low to me.
Well, if it had been in,
139.
he'd have missed a double for a 9-darter, wouldn't he?
Yeah, not Jamie Caven standards. 9 perfect darts in a row, although there was one in there that bounced or fell out of the 60. But this, to wrap up, a quite spectacular display from Peter Snakebite Wright. Double 16. Double 8. Oh, well, he has come within a whisker of finishing this game off 11 darter, 12 darter, 11 darter. World-class stuff from Peter Snakebite Wright. He is still averaging round about that 110 mark. And the defending champion, there you go, 111. Wonderful stuff from Snakebite. He says he is definitely going to win this weekend. If he plays like that, he almost certainly will.
Well, he got it right tonight, didn't he? Peter Snakebite Wright through with an average of over 110, setting the standard as he begins his defence of the European Darts Grand Prix with a comprehensive win against Kirk Shepherd, who heads home. Peter Wright is through to the final there as he bids to be the first man to successfully defend a title here in Sindelfingen.